I want you to look at this company right now, PLD. It's Prologis. It owns more rooftops than any other real estate company in the world. We're talking about 590 million square feet overall. These are thousands of buildings. Well, what's in them that they now have an unbelievable occupancy rate, but not just in the U.S. Over the past year, the stock is up some 30%, hitting a 52-week high today. But the most surprising part about the story is that despite the economic troubles, particularly in Europe, that's precisely where the company is seeing strong growth. I want this story. I hope you do, too. In a Fox Business exclusive, we've got it. Hamid Moghadam is Prologis chairman and CEO. Wonderful to see you, Hamid. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
Well, how did you do it? I mean, you've got a 95% occupancy rate for your industrial buildings, specifically in Europe. What are you doing right that you're able to have such a positive Europe story?
Well, we have a great portfolio around the world, including Europe, and quality always does well. But the European markets in our business have not been as terrible as the headline suggests. At the low point, we were in the low 90s in occupancy, and we worked that up to about 95% today. In fact, we were up about 200 basis points of occupancy just recently, and we're outperforming the market because of that quality. So partly is that the market is not as bad as everybody thinks, and partly we've got a great portfolio and a great team.
I don't mean to cast a negative pall, but we got a terrible durable goods number today, and it was down 3.4%, the worst since August, fourth down week in a row. I mean, the fourth down month in a row, and that's those customers are the people, I guess, that you're talking about. Who are your customers, these big industrial companies? I don't care if you mention U.S. or Europe or anywhere else, but who's renting your buildings?
If you look at anything in your studio or in your desk, it's likely to have come through one of our warehouses. So our business is very broad. Of course, durable goods are important, but consumption is even more important. And quarter by quarter changes in numbers don't really affect us all that much. So I think we are in a secular growth mode, certainly in the U.S. Europe is recovering a little slower. Asia's doing somewhere in between. And the real big story is not really demand, it's supply. The supply of new industrial product has been a fraction of what it usually is at this point in recovery. So vacancies are going down, and we're getting pricing power, and rents are going up, occupancies are going up everywhere, and our development business is beginning to get to normal cycle type levels.
You also have a dividend, 2.9%. That's an interesting story when people are always looking for yield. But let's go to the greenback. Everybody's talking about how the muscle-bound dollar is hurting a lot of big companies that develop goods overseas. Do you see any negative effect, I guess, in the next quarter, the current quarter, that might hurt you at least slightly in the future? I mean, you have to anticipate the worst, don't you, Hamid?
Sure, and in fact, we have anticipated the worst. We are an asset-heavy company. We own buildings, and so we need to insulate ourselves against currency movements. So what we do is that we actually own assets in local currency, and we have a lot of matching debt in the same local currency. So our U.S. portfolio is less levered. Our overseas portfolio is more hedged because of this leverage that matches the assets. So we actually have had less than a penny of impact from not only the euro, but also the yen, which has depreciated significantly. So we've anticipated changes in currency, both good and bad, and built a business structure that insulates us from that.
Well, see, that's what other companies that are supposed to be smart hadn't done. You obviously know your currencies and how to hedge it. It's a great story, Hamid. Thank you. We'll continue to follow it.
Thank you.
Hamid Moghadam is Prologis chairman and CEO. We like to bring you these stories because, again, these are the ones that can possibly make you money in the future. Hopefully you bought it before when we last profiled them. For